You know, I'll be the one to say it. It's been a really good year for video games. Just don't look at all the controversies going on and stuff like that. But that means I've been playing a lot of games and not uploading. There's one game that really stood out to me and gave me this warm, fuzzy feeling of the fun times I had playing games as a kid. And honestly, I really don't know why more sports games don't give this feeling nowadays. But that's what this video is about. Dodgeball Academia, and the unique, simplistic joy a sports game can give. Also, I'm a little rusty, so bear with me. Dodgeball Academia is a game that came out pretty recently about, you guessed it, dodgeball. The most noticeable thing about this game though is that it feels and looks a lot like the GBA Mario Tennis game with the mix of Inazuma 11. If you don't know about the Mario Tennis game, let me give you a quick rundown. To put it simply, it was an RPG tennis game where you had a character that went to a tennis academy. You rise through the ranks as you level up and eventually get to square up with Mario himself, who had all the mystique of Mickey Mouse and Kingdom Hearts. And actually, when I say that, the comparison to Dodgeball Academia makes even more sense. As for the Inazuma 11 comparison, that stems from the way that they both had a large group of people you could have in your party to switch in and out, as well as how shonen they are. But I'll come back to that. Firstly, I want to look at the RPG elements in Dodgeball Academia because, just like Mario Power Tennis, it's pretty simplistic, and that's a good thing. See, in more traditional RPG games, you'll want your leveling system to be complex and something you put thought into, right? Whether it's something like deciding what attributes to put your points in, although we both know that's getting dumped wholesale into strength or the Unga Boonga damage stat, or unlocking skills that you can use in cool ways. Of course, there are way more ways to add depth to an RPG game, through equipment, party composition, etc., but you get what I'm saying, right? A nice meaty progression system can really enhance the staying power and longevity of a game. Personally, in my opinion, I find myself struggling to finish games that lean towards simpler RPG progression. Not always, of course, progression isn't the only thing that makes a game, but the point still stands. With Dodgeball Academia, progression is super simple, and that's more than okay with me. And there's kind of two reasons for that. One, it activates the primal ape part of me that likes to see numbers go up. With the combination of level ups, better equipment, and stat boosting items, the characters start doing more damage and taking a lot more. It just feels good, which I know is peak analysis. There's four main stats: strength, which is obvious, defense, which is obvious, agility, which affects crit chance and speed, and tech, which affects how fast your special gauge feels. Increasing any of the stats even by one feels noticeable. It helps keep the pace moving with the admittedly short campaign, and it effectively feels like you're getting better. Speaking of getting better, the second reason I like the progression is due to you still needing to be good at the game to utilize your progression. Okay, to be fair, the game isn't hard or anything, but there is a little ceiling involved, especially when you get into countering and catching the ball. Remember how I briefly mentioned that you have special moves? Well, yeah, the opponents have that as well. The timing for catching the balls is surprisingly tight, so you gotta be on your toes unless you want to eat a bunch of balls to the face. Phrasing. But seriously, I definitely had a player or two get knocked out because of me missing my catches a little too much. Also, you need to figure out who you need to mix up. Because there are some people that like to catch everything, so you can't really spam them. I guess this is also a good place to talk about the gameplay. For actually throwing the ball, you have three choices: the regular throw, a jump throw, and a charge throw. I'm skipping the regular throw, but the jump throw is essentially a regular throw, but some abilities and equipment are based on being in the air. Also, not everyone can jump. Now that I think about it, jumping is also a dodge button, seeing as the alternative is rolling if they don't have a jump. Charge throws are a unique throw that each character has and what really amps things up in a battle. Some people just do extra damage or hit multiple people, but some people have trick throws that make it harder to catch. Another interesting mechanic is focus, which can only be used if a ball is on the other side of the field. This is also something that's unique to each character, and it's a charge that gives you some sort of buff or boost. Some examples are boosting the strength of every player or healing your teammates. For most people, you have to hold the charge long enough for the effect to take place, which can be dangerous since you're wide open. The MC can charge as long as he wants though, because his focus charge is the special meter. It's a cool addition that keeps you involved, so you're not just waiting for your opponent to throw the balls back. As for the special meter, if it gets full, you can do a special move, which is really special. I don't really need to explain it because it's kind of an extension of the charge attacks and focus abilities. I will say that to charge the meter, you can catch balls or hit people, so you're rewarded for being good at the game. There's also team swapping, which helps if someone is low, though the people behind you can still get hit. And that adds a little layer of extra depth because you're balancing who might need to gain meter or who is best suited to fight the enemies. But above all, head empty, must roll. And that's why the game is so fun. The leveling up and progression preps me for tougher enemies and allows me to further utilize my own skills. Games like this have a nice balance of getting good because of the game, aka things out of your control, and getting good because of your own abilities. It creates a nice balance and makes the game more enjoyable throughout. And with that said, why don't we have more sports games like this nowadays? I can't stomach 2K after having Bol Curry slide on me one too many times. FIFA, Madden, I think you see my point. The only big sports game that keeps this balance well is UFC, kind of, and MLB The Show, and even that fell into the 2K trappings of tying it to the online mode, which made progression weird and annoying. But unlike 2K, you can make a god still, so that's cool. That's what makes these simpler games like Dodgeball Academia, Mario Power Tennis, Golf Story, Inazuma 11, and stuff like that so fun. It lets you be powerful, and I think sports are the easiest way to show off RPG mechanics since you're already trying to be the best. I play the shit out of just about any sport if it was like these games. Give me a cricket game, you cowards. I don't know, make the characters actually crickets or something. I never watched cricket. And that's another thing. Although the games can get pretty crazy in terms of power levels and things like that, on some base level it does teach you how to play the sport, and that's pretty cool. But back to the point of feeling powerful, this is accident heavily by the shonen plot. Most of these sports RPGs, that's what I'm calling them by the way, have a plot that's almost a parody of shonens, and Dodgeball Academia is no different. The world in this game is pretty fun. It's like an anime world where instead of fighting being everything, it's dodgeball. In that world, everything you do in life is to be better at dodgeball, essentially, or at least that's how it is at this school. They have dodgeball board games, books about dodgeball, dodgeball themed foods, probably. It's absurd in the funniest possible way because the creators really leaned into it. As for the actual story, it's a pretty simple tale of an infectiously friendly guy working his way up the totem pole to be the best dodge player. And of course, friendship is power. Ugh. The dialogue is pretty solid and it got a couple laughs out of me, which is good enough. The side quests further show off the funny side of the world by having all these weird problems that the people in the academy are dealing with, and it's great. Also, as this is shonen-like in nature, there are special moves for every character like I said, and they represent their characters, which is fun. For example, the main character has a Kamehameha, which is the clearest symbol of a main character. Also, his dodgeball can light on fire, representing his fiery soul. My favorite special move though is the dude who warps their dodgeball and it disappears for a second. I always like fighting them. Honestly, I think I said all I wanted to say about this game. It's a nice short game that ended up being extremely fun to me. I definitely recommend it if you just want to get sweaty with some dodgeball action. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe because that really helps a lot. Also, I promise to start posting more again. I don't know if anyone cares though. Comment down below what your favorite sports game is, and before you go rolling headfirst into a wall, have a good day.